Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is from another double up game. Joining me here is JDPL Grillo. And in this game, we're going to be looking at a disco team composition, one that features an augment known as Little Buddies. We're also going to have a somewhat different sense to the gameplay in this particular lobby, and that's due to the portal that we're going to get here right at the start of the game. Most of the players are over by us at the augment payout portal. This is every time that you get an augment choice, you gain additional gold. It just kind of accelerates economy a little bit. It has the least effect on the overall game. However, there are a couple of players over on the Showtime one, and that is indeed the one that's going to get chosen. So we're going to have the Showtime portal here. As a reminder of what this one does, it didn't actually pop up in the... I don't think it listed what this portal does, or I might have gone by it very quickly. However, what the Showtime portal does is the headliners show up as though you were one level higher than you actually are. So, in other words, normally you have to be, for example, level 8 in order to find a 5-cost headline or a 4-cost headliner in your shop. But with this portal, you only need to be at level 7 to find a 4-cost headliner in your shop. So that's basically the idea there, is that you basically function as though you're one level higher than you normally are in terms of what headliners you see. Has a number of effects on the gameplay. It actually changes up the gameplay in a pretty significant way. One thing in particular that it does is it makes it much easier to find 2-cost headliners. Normally you have to be, normally you can't see the 2-cost headliners until you're level 4. And I believe you only have 20% odds at level 4 of finding them. But with this portal, you can find them on level 3, and you actually have very good odds to find them on level 4. I think you have like 60% odds to find them on level 4. So, as I said, it definitely changes things up. It makes it much easier to play 2-cost headliners. Also makes it realistically possible to find 5-cost headliners. Now, in the current version of Teamfight Tactics, you can find a 5-cost headliner on level 9, but the odds are only 2%. So you basically can find it, but it's very, very unlikely that you will. 2% odds. You basically have to be level 10 to find them. But with this portal, you only have to be level 9 to find them. So as you can see there, it definitely changes things up. One thing that you often want to do with this portal is get to level 9 and then play a 5-cost headliner, because level 9 functions as though you are level 10 for all intents and purposes, and it's very easy to find those 5-cost headliners on level 9. The other big thing to remember is instead of rolling down for a 4-cost headliner on level 8 like you normally would, you can roll down for a 4-cost headliner on level 7. So as I said, it definitely changes up the gameplay a bit. Now, I have kind of ignored all of that. I've given all this background. As I said, kind of ignored all of that. And that's because I saw a Disco Nami and headliner, and it actually fit my board pretty well. I had gotten 2 early Tarics, and I was like, you know what? If I can play this, I have the items for a Sunfire Cape. I can put that on Taric. I'm only 1 off Taric 2-star, so I'm kind of hoping I'll just find another Taric in the store. And I had the chance to play Disco 4 in the early game, which is quite good in the early game. Disco as a trait falls off quite a bit in the late game. In the late game, it's generally more valuable for its attack speed than for its healing. But if you have a 2-star frontliner with a good, decent tank item in the early game, it's very difficult to get through that with Disco healing in play, because in the beginning of the game, there's just not that much damage in the game. So healing tends to be stronger at the start of the game, weaker at the end of the game when damage just kind of explodes across the board. So I'm going to play this for the early game, and I thought, you know, maybe I'll pivot from there. I'm not exactly sure, but you know, we'll just see what happens. By the way, I also find a Nico in the store, so I was like, all right, well, I'll just play that over Kennen. I might as well. I can hold on to the Kennen as long as it doesn't cost me econ, but that's the plan here. As a quick refresher on the Disco trait, we are getting closer to the end of this set, but it never hurts to do a reminder of what the traits actually do. Disco puts a movable disco ball on the board. It's like the Jade statues from back in set 7. Allies who stand next to the disco ball gain attack speed and healing. They gain it immediately and every 3 seconds during the fight. The disco, and you gain higher tiers of attack speed and higher tiers of health regeneration as you get more ranks in the Disco trait. So that pops in at the start of the fight, and then it continues to tick as the fight goes on. So every 3 seconds, there's a little pulse of healing. It's not a ton. With Disco 4, at least in this patch, it was 3% of your max health on each Disco Pulse, and then 8% attack speed. That's for Disco 4, and then it goes up if you get to Disco 5 and Disco 6. It's a little bit less at Disco 3. As I said, though, here early in the game, it's quite a bit of healing, and because damage is low, it's just kind of tough for people to get through that and make their boards, and cut through that amount of healing on their boards. All right, so I was able to win the first 2 rounds. I'm hoping I can continue win streaking here. Grillo has an Olaf headliner. It's a Bruiser Olaf. He's going to play through that for the time being, and with the intention of probably shifting to something else as the game goes on. He is not going to try re-rolling for 3-star Olaf in this particular game. I am on the poorer side. Now, the good news is I found 2 Nikos. Nico's a nice Guardian to pair with the Tark. The downside is the Nico is quite expensive, so I am not going to be able to hit 10 gold on the interest breakpoint here, which is a little bit disappointing, but definitely can't hit that with the Nico here. I'm also up against a level 5 board. By the way, this person has, I think they definitely have Heartsteel trait in, but yeah, they took Silver Spoon for their augment, which gives you 10 XP. They're actually level 5, but they're still going to lose to my level 4 board, which is really nice. So, as I said, I think I made a good choice here for the early game. The 4 Disco with the Sunfire Keep on Tark is really hard for people to cut through here at the start of the game. It's a lot of healing. And Nami Headliner actually does a decent amount of damage. Now, she falls off really hard after you get, she's like good on stage 2, she's okay on stage 3, she falls off a cliff on stage 4 because enemy boards are just getting too strong. But yeah, here on stage 2, she's actually reasonably good. In any case, I get my chance to pick off the item carousel. There wasn't really anything I wanted that badly, so I was like, all right, you know what, let's take the sword. We're going to make Gunblade here with this, and I wanted the Gunblade because it's a very flexible item. Also, big hit there. The Tarek 2-star is a big hit. That actually makes our board a lot stronger there. I'm also going to go ahead and level and play the Bard because I'm on a big win streak here. And Grillo, by the way, has actually picked up a Bard headliner. He's not planning on sticking with this long term, but he is going to pick up the Bard headliner, so that's kind of interesting. As I said, though, I wanted to make the Gunblade because it's a very flexible item. I can play this on a number of carries who are AP focused. It does lock me into playing an ability power team comp, so it does limit my options in that respect. But otherwise, it is a very flexible item because I can play this on Ari if I wanted to. If for some reason I wanted to go for 3-star Seraphine, I could do that. It's a good item on Lulu if I wanted to go Lulu reroll. It's a good item on Twisted Fate if I want to play TF and continue leaning towards the disco setup. By the way, here I'm going to sell Kennen because I desperately need to get to 10 gold. A little unfortunate because Grillo has 2 out of 3 Kennens, and I was hoping maybe to send him the Kennen with my champion send when it comes back up again, but I really need to get to 10 gold. I'm on full win streak, and I wasn't even on 10 gold on 2-5. That's not great. By the way, there's someone trying to scale up on Heartsteel. So anyway, here is another Gragas. That's pretty nice. Yeah, they already have Heartsteel 5 in. I think they had Heartsteel 5 in on 2-2 or something crazy like that. But the thing is, they actually are going to raise the stakes here instead of taking the cash out. And I actually think that that's a mistake. So getting away from my team for the moment and getting to that person's team. So they're going to raise the stakes here, which means that they have to loss streak. I actually don't think this is the right decision to do this here. If you want to raise the stakes, what you really want to do is you want to win streak throughout stage 2 and stage 3, and then you want to loss streak on stage, like maybe the back end of stage 3, and then all throughout stage 4, because even if you're on full loss streak, and by the way, here's that 5 Heartsteel player, very conveniently popping up against me as I talk about them. Even if you're on full loss streak, you just don't get that many hearts on stage 2 and stage 3. The amount of hearts you get for full loss streaking goes up enormously on stage 4 and stage 5. So what you really want to do is you want to preserve health on like stages 2 and 3, and then you want your loss streak to be on like stage 4. Into stage 5. So if you're going to go on the big loss streak, you actually don't want to do it at the beginning of the game with Heartsteel. And I still think a lot of people don't understand this. People at the top of the ladder do, but I think people elsewhere just don't get that. Like, I think it's better to win streak if you have early Heart Streak. Just take like, I don't know, an 8 gold cash out, use it to accelerate your economy. Maybe your next cash out's like 12 gold. Just use it to push economy, get to like level 7 or 8 quickly, and then that's when you do the loss streak, if you're going to go the big loss streak route. But I don't think that like losing 50 health loss streaking on stage 2 and stage 3 really does that much, because you're still only going to get like a 35 gold cash out even if you lose the first 10 rounds of the game, and you're just trading too much health for not enough economic benefit. At least that's the way that I see it. Alrighty, let's get back to my own team here. So what we have is we've managed to get up to 30 gold, thankfully. There were some champions that dropped there I was able to sell. I picked up another rod and then, what is it, a belt and a vest. So I actually have the components for another Sunfire cape here, which is kind of funny. But I don't want to make double Sunfire cape. That seems excessive. I really don't need that. Since I am on full win streak, though, I will level and I will play the Misfortune. That's going to put Jazz trait in. Not that Jazz is going to do that much at this stage of the game, but still, getting Jazz in, not bad. Definitely not bad. And it also just puts Misfortune on the board, which is going to cause me to deal a little bit more damage. I think my team is a little bit more tanky focused than damage focused at the moment. So getting another damage dealer on the board definitely is going to help here. As I said, yeah, I have the 2-star Tark. I was able to put another Giant's Belt on him, so that's nice. It's going to make him tankier. By the way, this is the person who's playing the board most similar to mine. They have a Nami, and they're actually playing a 4 Guardian frontline, which is pretty good for this stage of the game. Look how long it takes me to cut through this front line. All those Guardian shields keep triggering over and over and over again. But it looks like I do have this round. Grillo's going to come in to help out, but I'm pretty sure I had this round anyway, just because I had a lot more units alive. There's his Bard headliner coming in. So I think that board was pretty strong. And then I'm going to sell the Tark to get to 20 gold. Really need to do that. I don't want to be on 19. The Tark is so that I have a replacement Tark if I want. Okay, here is the augment that the video title referred to. Little Buddies, your 4 and 5 cost champions gain 75 health and 9% attack speed for every 1 and 2 cost unit that you're playing on the board. So it buffs up your 4 and 5 cost champions in exchange for 1 and 2 cost champions on your board. So it's an augment that rewards playing a mixture of high tier units and low tier units, which is pretty interesting. By the way, you see I hit 2-star Bard there, and Grillo sends me a Nico, so now I have 2-star Nico. So I actually thought quite a bit about whether I wanted to take this augment, and the biggest reason for that is it doesn't do anything for me right now. As I said, it increases the attack speed and the health of your 4 and 5 cost units based on how many 1 and 2 costs you're playing on the board. Obviously, I do not have any 4 or 5 cost units on my board right now, so this is basically a dead augment for the moment. Until I actually get some 4 and 5 cost units on the board, it's not going to do anything for me. So I was a little hesitant to take that because I'm win streaking. I want to try to continue win streaking. We want to continue to try bullying this lobby. And this does mean that the augment's not going to do that, at least not right away. So that was a bit of my concern. But I thought that this made a lot of sense for the team that I was playing and due to that headliner portal that we have on our setup here. The disco team composition, by the way, this also does kind of lock me into a disco team composition. So that's also a bit of an issue as well. But I actually think that Disco is probably the team composition that makes the best use of little buddies in the whole game. You can also make a case for when you're playing super fans, like if you're playing, I don't know, like Ari Sona in the late game, Ari Sona Akali, and then you're also still playing like Lilia and Kennen. But that board doesn't play that many 1 and 2 cost units. I guess it plays a couple Kennen, Lilia, Seraphine. So like you get some of them on the board, but it doesn't play that many 4 and 5 cost units either. I guess that's kind of the board that makes the best use of this. But like the board I have here, Disco, so you're definitely going to play Nami on a Disco board because she's Disco Dazzler. You're probably going to play Bard because he has the Dazzler trait. You can then play Taric if you want for a rank of Disco, and you can play Gragas for another rank of Disco. So that's potentially 4 different units that you can play on this board that are 1 and 2 costs. And then you also have a whole bunch of 4 and 5 costs you want to play as well. Twisted Fate you want to play on this board. Blitzcrank you want to play on the board. You can play Alawi easily, and you want to play Ziggs. So the team is basically all 1 and 2 cost units, and then 4 and 5 cost units. The one that slots in there otherwise would be Lux. You can also play Lux on the board, and Lux is a Dazzler EDM unit. It's also very playable. Oh, you can also play Zac as well. Zac's also a very playable unit on this board too. So it's just, this is a team composition that really does very well with the Little Buddies setup. So I think that this is probably the best team composition to play Little Buddies with. As I said, the other thing would probably be a Superfan setup is about all that I can think of. All right, now I was looking for bows on this carousel. I know that these are going to be items that'll go onto Twisted Fate later on, but I need to get some attack speed for TF. I will get attack speed from the Disco trait. I will get attack speed from Little Buddies. However, I'm going to need more attack speed, so I was looking for bows, but that was just not there. There was no bow option to be found. So I just take another rod and I make a death cap here instead. So now I have gunblade death cap. I have used 3 rods here because I've been able to get multiple rods off of carousels. We also had the double up gift round. There was a spatula option, but now that I'm committed to playing a disco comp, I really do not have any use for a spatula. There's nothing I can make that would be useful. Back in the release version of the game, when you can make a jazz emblem, that would have been awesome, and I would have 100% made a jazz emblem if it were possible, but that is not possible. That recipe was changed to a country emblem. Used to be that jazz was craftable with spatula plus cloak. Now that is the country emblem recipe. So because that's not the case, I just opt to take a thief's glove, and I'm going to put that on the this 2-star Nico that I have to help anchor the front line. Because as I said, I kind of have carry items for Twisted Fate. I just need some attack speed, but what I was missing was a little bit more tankiness. So it makes more sense to put this on the Nico, I think. Now it's the gift round for Grillo, and we were actually really hoping that we would be able to send him a spatula, but no. He has a Samira over there. He was going to play Country Samira because he actually had a cloak that he could have made a country emblem with the spatula, but it's not an option. And as a result, he actually ends up pivoting out of the country entirely, and he's going to go in a different direction for his board. You can see he's got the cloak on his bench there, so he could have just made the country. And I guess he did have an Executioner Samira, not a Country Samira, but still. He was thinking of going in the country direction, and then he just ended up pivoting in a completely different direction entirely, as we're going to see. By the way, this person's 7 Heartsteel. They already have double Heartsteel emblems and a Tactician's Crown. They actually goofed on doing that, by the way, though, because look, they have a belt on their bench, and they have a Tactician's Crown. They could have made 3 Heartsteel emblems. Yeah, they could have actually made triple Heartsteel emblems, which would let them play Heartsteel 10. So making the Tactician's Crown was actually kind of a grief from their setup there. They really should have just held and tried to go for the 3rd Heartsteel emblem. So yeah, this team is loss streaking. We definitely would like to get them out of the lobby just because they are going to be scaling up really hard on Heartsteel. And the issue is just, can they preserve enough health to hang in there on Heartsteel, or are they going to, get a billion Heartsteel cash outs and be super strong? We're hoping that they can get knocked out of the lobby before they manage to get too many Heartsteel cash outs. They are down on 36 HP at the end of stage 3. Again, as I said, I just think it's too risky to play the game this way. I wouldn't recommend it. I think they should have worked more to preserve health as opposed to just having like the absolute most econ possible. All right, anyway. All right, well, now we're level 7, and normally I would stick with this board a bit longer, but the thing is, remember, I can get 4-cost headliners on level 7 in this lobby, so that's what I'm going to be looking to do. I also made a mistake there. I thought that the Taric was my headliner. The Taric is not actually my headliner, it's the Nami, so I actually sold the wrong unit. I definitely would have preferred keeping the Taric in there a bit longer, so whoops, that was a bit of a mistake. So I realized it right here. I was like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't see a headliner. Who is my headliner? Oh, it's Nami. Okay, that's not good. Well, let's see what we can find. There's a Blitz there right away. That's nice. And we'll pick up Bards because we might be able to 3-star Bard. There's a Dazzler Lux. I was really tempted by this, but I was like, no. And I went past a TF. I saw it right away as soon as I went past it. I was like, oh, no. I went past a TF. That's so bad. I really need the TF. I am going to pick up this replacement TF, though. So we'll put that on the board. And I'm still rolling here. I have not managed to find a Blitz or a TF headliner. That's what I'm really looking for. I want a Blitzcrank headliner or a TF or a Twisted Fate headliner, but I can at least start putting my carry items on TF. I'm very much transitioning here. I'm actually up against the other person playing the Disco board, although I don't think that this person sticks with Disco long term. So I definitely don't expect to win this round because you can see I'm in the middle of a transition. I don't have a headliner here. Grillo's going to come over. Can this be enough to win the round? I am on a huge win streak. I would really like to continue if possible. His Akali is dashing around killing stuff. You can see he found a headliner Akali, so he's going to go into KDA. And yeah, actually, Akali's going to save my butt and preserve my win streak from a fight I really had no business winning, but that is double up for you sometimes. Anyway, so we've got our last augment here. It's time to pick my last one. And then I get double the funk. Your disco balls affect allies up to 2 hexes away and pulse every 2.5 seconds. So that's an obvious take there, because I'm playing Disco. Again, I'm rolling here. I'm like, can I find a TF or a Blitz? It does get up to 6 bards for what that's worth. Still rolling here. And oh, Disco TF. Perfect. All right. Let's get Disco TF in. Again, I'm still transitioning my board here. Still working to get units on here. The Nico needs to come out. I don't really need the Nico. We'll put the Mordekaiser in because I do want to get Sentinel trait in. And let's go ahead and put the Thieves Glove on somebody. I think the Mord makes the most sense. Let's get our carry items on TF. And there we go. And now I've got some leftover stuff here. Misfortune, maybe, but I think the next unit in has to be a Dazzler unit. Also, don't look now, but I did manage to get 5 Gragas' 6 Bards. So I know these units are never coming off my board, so I might as well hold on to them, just in case I would be able to 3-star them later. You never know. They're not a high priority, but, you know, it doesn't cost much econ to hold them, so who the heck knows? All right, so after the dust is settled, I have 5 Disco, 3 Dazzler, 2 Bruiser, 2 Sentinel. And wow, look at TF when he gets his cast off. Jeez, TF. That's, his cards do a lot of damage with the Death Cap and the Gunblade when he actually gets them off. What he just needs is more attack speed so he can cast faster. But yeah, 5 Disco. So if I could play the Taric, I could get 6 Disco in. That would also get me another rank of Little Buddies. So that's also a real possibility. But I do think that 4 Dazzler is better. I think the next unit in should be another Dazzler unit because it really increases the Dazzler damage. That's why I'm going to pick up the Lux here. I've also got the pieces of a couple different items. And yeah, you can see if I want, I can play the 4 Dazzler here. So that's also a possibility. And I think that I decided that I think that that's a little bit better here. So I'm going to go ahead and make that switch. Dazzler's abilities reduce the target's damage by 10%, deal bonus magic damage over 2 seconds. Dazzler 4 is 60% bonus magic damage. And since TF is hitting so hard with his Death Cap, it's quite a bit of extra damage. If you watch TF get his cast off, he's going to get it off here. So he's going to hit a whole bunch of people with his cards. And if you watch, their health is going to continue decreasing afterwards because they're continuing to take that ticking damage from his Dazzler trait. All right, so watch, he's going to get off 1 billion cards. And oh, wow, we actually win that. And it was the Dazzler damage that won the fight. I don't know if that was visible in that little animation there, but there was all these little like 6, 6, 6, 6, 6 animations, and that was the ticking Dazzler damage after he hit them with the cards. Actually was enough to swing that fight, so that was pretty nice. Now I just need to get more attack speed on him. So I actually see that there's this bow here on a Cassante. I was like, oh, come on. No one wants a bow on a 1-cost champion, right? Everybody's going to take all the other stuff. Yeah. Go grab all the other stuff. Leave that bow to me. I can make a Gnasher's Tooth, and that'll be perfectly fine for TF's last item. So I was like, all right, come on. Nobody wants this, right? Nobody wants this. Grillo's going to take the Akali. I'm like, all right, come on. Let's go get this. And somebody snaps it up. I was like, really? Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and take the rod. So we'll just take yet another rod. I've been taking nothing but rods off carousels, and that's not such a bad thing because it's pretty good for my overall setup here. As I said, Disco Dazzler teams do need a lot of rods because you want to itemize Twisted Fate. He's the main carry. You often want to itemize Lux as your secondary carry. She needs rods. And then if you play Ziggs, well, Ziggs needs rods too. They all need lots and lots of AP items that build out of rods. So, as I said, not the worst thing to have this year. I'm going to hold the rod for the moment, though. I'm still not exactly sure what I want to build for my last item. It's going to depend what I get out of this last minion round in terms of getting the items. By the way, that person made another Tactician's Crown over there. That Heartsteel board has double Heartsteel emblems and 2 Tactician's Crowns. So I was like, okay. Sure. Anyway, TF's going to get his cast off, and wow, he just about killed the whole board, and he's going to kill Ezreal. I was like, oh, does he actually win this fight with his Gunblade healing? But no, it turns out the Zac actually did too much damage. But still, TF almost won that fight, which is pretty impressive. I had to roll quite a bit of gold to find my headliner. It's a little bit disappointing I had to roll that much gold to get my headliner. That has put me a little bit behind the ball economically, but I've been able to rebuild my economy back to 50 gold. Now I need to get to level 8, and I need to 2-star the Blitzcrank. If I can 2-star Blitz, I might be able to go to level 9. Would also be nice to 2-star Lux, and if I could find a Ziggs, that would be great. I would just play Ziggs over Lux, if that's the case. I don't think that Lux 3-star is in the cards for this game, and if I'm not going to hit Lux 3-star, I'd rather play Ziggs. And the reason for that is Little Buddies. Remember, 4 and 5 cost units get the benefit from Little Buddies. 3 cost units do not. So Lux does not get the Little Buddies benefit, but Ziggs would. So that's why it would be better to play Ziggs here. I also want to play another Bruiser for frontline, and it has to be a 4 or 5 cost unit. So Zac is the obvious choice here. That would make EDM trait with Lux, but there is also the possibility to find Illaoi. And as I said, if I'm not going to play into 3-star Lux, and if I'm going to try to play into Ziggs later on, I don't really need to care about EDM trait. I don't really have to play Zac, so I'd be happy to switch into Illaoi as well. Anyway, did end up losing that round, so that's not quite what I was hoping for. But as I said, I kind of won more rounds than I was expecting to over the course of this game. And yeah, there's 6 Gragas's. We're just going to keep holding the Gragas's and the what are they called? The Bards. I don't know why it took me a minute to think of his name. We're just going to keep holding these, and maybe we'll hit them, maybe we won't. As I said, it's not a huge priority, but it doesn't cost much gold, so it's worthwhile to just hold these. Gragas 3-star would be nice for additional frontline. Bard 3-star would be nice for a little bit more damage and healing, so we'll see. The main thing I'm focused on here, though, is what items am I going to get out of this final round? I get another rod and another tier. Not quite what I'm looking for, but I'm not going to complain too much. Now, I just need to get a bow desperately. I'm like, can I find a bow? By the way, another Gragas. I'm like, can I find a bow here? And thank God there is a bow here. So I could do Gnasher's Tooth, or I could alternately do... Gnasher's Tooth, or I could do Rage Blade, but I think that the Gnasher's Tooth is better in this situation. Anyway, we'll go ahead and play the, the set for a Bruiser trait. There's another Bard. The Yorick, I didn't have any way to get on my board. I asked Grillo if he could use it, and he said he could not. So we'll go ahead and pass on that. We're going to go ahead and use the EDM selector. Now we can sell the sets, because remember, we want 4 and 5 cost units for Little Buddy's benefit. And Zach is going to be better. He's going to get the extra attack speed. He's going to get the extra health. So we don't need to hold sets. Sets a 3-cost unit. 3-cost units are no bueno in this comp. We want 1 and 2-cost units, and then 4 and 5-cost units. And I'm hoping I can just play nothing but each of those categories by the end of the game. All right, I went ahead and made a Protector's Vow for Blitzcrank just based on what I had. It's a solid item on him. It's not one of his absolute top-tier items, but it's a very solid choice. By the way, that Zach... bouncing around is really annoying. Can Akali kill this? No. She was not able to kill this, unfortunately. We would have liked to have gotten that win for Grillo, but was not in the cards. Anyway, I'm mostly still rolling for Blitzcrank 2-star. I really want 2-star Blitz. I don't think that I can afford to sit here. And I don't think I can go to level 9 until I have a 2-star Blitzcrank. Grillo, for the gift round, the option I had was Trickster's Glass. Summon a clone with 70% health. I was trying to see who I could put this on theirs. A Blitz. I could put it on Blitzcrank, but it would come in with no items, which would be a little bit of a disappointment. So I don't think that it's quite right to put it on Blitzcrank, because having a Blitz that shows up with no items is not going to be that great. Here, I'm asking if Grillo wants a Kiana. He does have a Kiana on his bench, but he's not going to play that. He actually wants the Ahri, so we're going to go ahead and send in the Ahri. That makes Ahri 2-star for his board. I'm going to keep rolling here. Another Yorick, by the way. Also another Gragas. There's a shame I couldn't really play Yorick on this board. I guess if I'd been playing Taric, I could have looked to play that. But yeah, and then time runs out before I can get the Trickster's Glass off. So I'm still trying to find a unit to put that on. A deal would be a unit that just has a whole bunch of health, because it summons them with no items, but with 70% of their base health. So a Bruiser would be a good target to put it on. Anyway, TF's the only one left, but his Gunblade is going to give him just enough healing. And he's going to clutch that fight out, which is really important, because remember, we want that team to get out of the lobby. They have the double Tactician's Crown and like a billion ranks of Heartsteel trait. So the longer the game goes on for them, the more they're going to be able to keep getting Heartsteel cash outs and scaling up. So we just want them out of the lobby ASAP. Winning a round to knock them down to 4 HP is actually a big deal. All right, I'm going to send Grillo an artifact item. By the way, note an Alawi headliner here. I am level 8. I have a Alawi headliner. That's actually 2% odds of that happening, but I can't sell the TF. If I had replacement TFs ready to go, maybe, I would love, and I mean love, to have this Alawi headliner, but I just can't do it. I can't sell the TF. I have no damage on my board if that happens. So yeah, I actually have the 2% odds headliner, but it's not a swap I can make. Still, I did find a normal Alawi, so I'll put the Alawi on the board, and I'm gonna put the Trickster's Glass on her. I think she's one of the best targets I can put it on. Alternately, maybe I could have put it on the Gragas, because Gragas is 3-starred, but I think Alawi is just better. I actually have no idea how she interacts with the tentacles, the cloned Alawi. Like, does she summon tentacles as well? Can she replace the ones that die? I have no idea. But it feels like having double Alawis on the board is probably going to be pretty good regardless. So I think she was a good person to put that, the glass on. All right, well, this person does have an Alawi headliner. They have they managed to go to level 9. They found their own Alawi headliner. And they're gonna be able to win that round. They are down on 1 hit point though, so we're hoping we can get them out of the lobby. That's another one of those boards that's just trying to scale up infinitely off Heartsteel trait. So yeah. Now on this carousel, I'd love the Alawi with the Gargoyle Stoneplate. I actually would like to get something here that I can put on Blitzcrank, but all the frontline stuff keeps getting taken. And yes, there are still 4 teams alive. They're on 14 health, 14 health, 14, 4, and 1 HP, but they all get grabbed. So out of these options, I don't have much of a choice. I'm going to go ahead and take the Jeweled Gauntlet. I did make a death cap earlier from those additional leftover rods that I had, and I didn't really want this item, but I didn't need another Sunfire Cape. Like, I don't need to build double Sunfire Capes. That's a waste of time. So I didn't really have much of a choice other than that. I'm still just looking for this last Blitzcrank. I'm just rolling and rolling. I've seen 3 Yoriks, but I can't see I can't see a third Blitzcrank here, which is pretty unfortunate. So just going to keep rolling until I hit the Blitz. If I had hit the Blitz quickly, or if I had not had to roll so much to hit Twisted Fate 2-star on level 7, then I might have been able to go to level 9. As I said, what I would ideally do would be to go to level 9, replace Lux with Ziggs, and then put in a Lucian for Jazz trait. And I think that would be the ideal board if I could make one there. Because Lucian, again, a 5 cost would also benefit from the little buddies. But I just can't get there. Ultimately, I could put Taric in for 6 disco, which wouldn't be terrible, but I think it would be much better to cap the board with a Lucian than with a Taric. I think that would cap the board a lot better. 5 cost as opposed to a 1 cost. All right, the good news is we get one of the teams that was on the big Heartsteel run out of the lobby on this round. And then I think, does another team also get knocked out? I can't remember if that team is eliminated on 1 HP or they actually have 1 HP remaining. Sometimes teams has like multiple versions of that. All right, no, they were still alive. They still have 1 HP, but they're down to just 1 health left. Yeah, this is the team that has 9 Heartsteel, double Tactician's Crown, and 2 more Spatulas sitting there. So they're starting to get out of control, but if we can beat them or their partner, we don't actually have to beat them, we can beat their partner, then they'll be out of this lobby. And the other person is the 5 Superfans, playing Superfan Gnar. Again, not bad, but I think is pretty beatable at this stage of the game. So we're just hoping that one of them will be out of this lobby ASAP. I am up against yet another Heartsteel player. 3 people playing Heartsteel in this lobby. We both opted out of the Heartsteel race, and we're glad that we did so. This team was able to use Heartsteel Cash Out to get a Mana Zane on Ezreal. So yeah, that's pretty good back there. And they've also had this Zac that's been bouncing around with the Anima Visage. So my front line does not hold up long enough. It's not shocking because, again, I still have 1-star Blitzcrank. But they're going to go over and reinforce another board. And that actually is not the worst thing for us because guess what? They knocked out the team that had the humongous Heartsteel setup. The team that was sitting there with, what was it? They had... the double Tactician's Crown and 2 more Spatulas and Heartsteel 9. So yeah, if they beat me and reinforce their partner and we're able to knock out that team, that's all to the good for us. So now it's down to us and just these 2 other teams. One of the players is strong. It's the person I just hit last round, Darcy, who's win streaking. That board is strong. Their partner, the Diff Diddler, is actually not particularly strong. So with us having so much more health than them, we think we're in reasonably good shape here. In order to just get we probably need to win 2 more rounds to knock them out. And by the way, I'll continue picking up TFs. We were also picking up additional Akali's for Grillo. I think between us, we had 6 Akali's and he had a duplicator, so he wasn't that far off the Akali 3-star. And there's the Blitzcrank. That's what we wanted there. Also, I get a nice item here in the Bramble Vest. Most of the damage on these other teams is physical, so Bramble Vest is quite good here. Now I could look to go to level 9, potentially. Well, this team, it's not. This team is all magic damage, but the other person, Darcy, is pretty much all physical damage. So the Blitzcrank being 2-starred and now having the Bramble Vest is going to make him much tankier. So my front line got significantly better as a result of that round. And I had the double Alawis and a 3-star Gragas along with this random Mordekaiser that's just in there for Sentinel trait. So overall, pretty happy with what this looks like right now. If I could 2-star the Alawi would be great, or if I could find Ziggs would be nice. But yeah, you see, I beat this board, and it's not particularly close. And then I'm going to come over to Grillo's board, and let's see, can the 2 of us together beat this board? I think Grillo would have narrowly lost if it had been him alone, but together the 2 of us have no difficulty taking out this board. So now they're on 1 HP. They have to, if they lose 1 more round, they're out of the game. Excuse me. And we're feeling pretty good. I actually find a Ziggs at the 3% odds. So yes, I will make this transition. Even though Lux 2, you could say Lux 2-star better than Ziggs 1-star. But But the big difference is Ziggs gets the little buddies benefit, Lux does not. I'm also still on 8 bards. I was hoping I could hit the last bard, but I have not had success doing that. So Ziggs is really going to help out this board, though, in the sense that he's going to apply the 4 Dazzler debuff to even more people than Twisted Fate alone. I guess technically Nami and Bard do, but both of them are kind of single target with their damage, whereas Ziggs hits quite a few people when his bombs goes off. Yeah, it's going to break off and hit a whole bunch of the board, and that's great. We get the Dazzler debuff in terms of their damage, and Ziggs is actually doing a lot of damage himself. Like, don't be fooled just because his bombs don't look like they're doing that much. He's actually hitting pretty hard. We actually were able to snipe the backline there. So yeah, it looks like we have this round under control. Grillo won his round, so I could have lost. It didn't even matter. Ziggs did 5,800 damage. He did almost as much damage as TF in that fight. So yeah, we're going to win this one. It was not particularly close, and we're able to wrap this one up. So the power of little buddies, as I said, a really good fit for the Disco team setup, and I was able to play Disco mostly uncontested, and it all came together really neatly. Now, one thing that I'll point out here on the loading screen is you might notice the LP over there in the corner. I am at Diamond 190 LP. Unfortunately, we did another game after this one and lost. So as of this recording, I've still not hit Masters, but hopefully soon we're going to keep trying and hopefully get it in the near future. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, take care, folks.